If you grew up in the 60s or 70s, you must be familiar with My Three Sons. In this show, Steve Douglas and his father-in-law raise 3 children after Douglas' wife dies. If you binge-watch the TV show, stick around. We're about to cover what happened to the cast. Also, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. That said, let's dive into the video. Once in a while, inevitably, you wonder what happened to your favorite actors. Some thrived and continued to build their acting careers, while others met more tragic ends. For example, you may know that Pippi Longstocking actress, Inger Nielsen, went on to sing and work as a secretary. It's just natural for us to want to stay in touch with actors who marked us. But we are not here to talk about Pippi Longstocking, at least not today. Instead, as the title suggests, we will discuss the famous TV show My Three Sons, a popular sitcom in the 60s and 70s. Lots of people fondly remember the good memories it brings, sitting at home with the family, turning the TV on, watching the black and white frames, and laughing with all the different situations and dynamics. In this video, we review what happened to some of the most relevant actors in My Three Sons. From the charismatic Fred MacMurray to the small Stanley Livingston, all of them had something unique to show to the world. If you were an avid fan, you may wonder what happened to them, so stick around. We are about to find out. Fred MacMurray, Steve Douglas. Fred was definitely the heart of the show. As Steve, his tender moments and great advice to the kids melted the audience's hearts. He cared for the children and was attached to them. The actor began acting in 1929, co-starring with famous stars like Katharine Hepburn and Joan Crawford. He always had a brilliant career ahead of him, as not many actors booked film roles with the ease he did. My Three Sons was actually one of the final projects he partook in, and he decided to film his way. He did his scenes in non-consecutive days, meaning the rest of the actors usually filmed without their TV show dad present and not in order. As you may imagine, some people didn't like this method, but they had to put up with it anyway. Once he retired, he moved to a ranch to live a peaceful life. Unfortunately, Fred MacMurray had a habit of smoking that developed into throat cancer in the late 70s. He passed away in 1991 when he was 83 years old. This occurrence shows that, tragically, regardless of success and fame, such illness can hold a grip on anyone. William Frawley, Bub. Bub is Steve's father-in-law. This character is crucial in the first seasons, as he helps raise the kids and keep everything together. William Frawley had a prolific career. By 1951, he had been in more than 100 movies, and he landed the role of Bub. As time passed, and since William Frawley was aging, the company could no longer afford his health insurance. And so they let him go, replacing him with William Demarest, an actor Frawley wasn't fond of. As a result, the tension between the actors was quite evident. And remember what we discussed about not filming the TV show in order? That one thing drove Frawley insane. He was so accustomed to filming consecutive scenes that he felt too old to change his ways. Eventually, William Frawley had a heart attack and passed away in 1966, shortly after being replaced in the series. Tim Considine, Mike Douglas. The oldest son abandoned the show after marrying his fiancée. While this is sweet, he never appears again in the series. Instead, to make up for his disappearance, scripters added another son to keep the trio going. With this move, My Three Sons might have lost a great actor. Tim Considine debuted in the 50s at only 13 years. He co-starred with stars like Red Skelton. He also appeared in Disney projects like The Adventures of Spin and Marty. And sure enough, his acting career did not end after My Three Sons. He continued to perform, appearing in Bonanza or Patton, but over the years, he changed his hobbies. Tim was keen on automobile history, photography, and motorsports, even writing books on the last one. His final role was in 1973's The Daring Dobermans. Later, unfortunately, he died in 2022 at the age of 81. William Demarest, Charlie O'Casey. Bub's younger brother joined the show after William Frawley, Bub, fell ill. He played Steve's uncle-in-law. But here's a fun fact. In real life, there was tension between the two Williams on stage. So much so that it was apparent to the rest of the cast on more than one occasion. After all, Demarest was there to take Frawley's place. William Demarest debuted in the late 20s partaking in films like Sullivan's Travels. Before acting in My Three Sons, Demarest had appeared in projects like Tales of Wells Fargo. Even though he was an actor until his 80s, having filmed several different roles, he was always proudest of Charlie Douglas. Demarest lived a lengthy and fulfilled life, taking up hobbies like boxing and vaudeville. However, he died in 1983 at the age of 91. Don Grady, Robbie Douglas. Performing as the middle child, Robbie Douglas was one of the final roles Don Grady took. Eventually, he transitioned into music in Hollywood. But before his life turned to that, he debuted as a Mouseketeer, and then appeared in shows like The Restless Gun or The Rifleman. He appeared in every episode of My Three Sons but one, and was well liked by the audience. As a musician, he composed themes for different movies and shows. His career culminated with the theme song for The Phil Donahue Show. Don Grady was a talented man, and he took advantage of that until he, unfortunately, died from myeloma at age 68. Stanley Livingston. Chip Douglas. Chip Douglas was the youngest son in the TV show, appearing in every single episode. The audience cherished seeing the boy grow up during the 12 seasons. But who wouldn't? Both the character and the actor had quite a development, with Chip, spoiler alert, even marrying his high school sweetheart Polly. He wasn't so lucky in real life, though, as he divorced his first wife, Sandra Livingston. However, he remarried Paula Drake years after, and to this day both are still happily married. After partaking in My Three Sons, he became an LA director and producer, with a particular interest in children's shows for PBS. To this day, we can still see Stanley accepting interviews and panel appearances. He even owns a website where you can find everything about his public life. Tina Cole, Katie. Finally, what happened to Tina Cole, who interpreted the sweet Katie? Steve's daughter-in-law brought a special touch to the show, and she had great chemistry with Don Grady. But of course, she did, as both of them dated and enjoyed a relationship during the filming. She is now 79 years old and still participates in interviews. She cherishes her time in My Three Sons and often talks about it when asked. Regarding recent projects, she partook in a movie called Reawakened in 2020. Well, that's all for this video. What are your thoughts on the actors and their fates? Were you familiar with any of them? Also, if you know any further details, share them with us and other viewers in the comments. We'd love to know the details. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and stick around for more content.